Today I'm going to show you how to install Home Assistant on Debian 11. To begin with, I'm going to start by creating a new virtual machine on my HACS host. I'm going to name this Home Assistant, or just say HA for short. You can give it any name you want, depending on your preference. On the guest OS here, I'm going to change this to Linux. On the guest OS version, I'm going to switch these to Debian 9. Though we're installing Debian 11, sometimes it might just be best to just choose orders. But for now, we're just going to go with Debian 9 since that's actually what I have on my version 6.5 of my EXSI host. I'm going to click Next. Also going to click Next here. I'm going to make some changes here to my RAM. I'm going to give it a 4 gig 4096. You can make it faster, but you can make it 8 gig, 8192, or whatever choice you want. You can make this a 30 gig hard drive. It's basically your preference. For my network adapter, I do have some VLANs that I've created on my virtual machine. I'm just going to choose one of my VLAN interface that I'm going to use for this installation. On the CD drive, I'm going to switch to the data store ISO file, and I'm actually going to add the Debian 11.5 that ISO that I've already downloaded. Please note, I'm going to put the link in the description below. This is the link to download the Debian 11.5 version. I'm going to put that all in the description. So I'm going to click on Select, and next I'm going to do is click Next and look through this. Everything looks good for me. I'm going to click Finish, and once my virtual machine is created, you're going to see it here in the list. So this is my virtual machine. I can actually refresh it. Everything looks good so far. I'm going to click on the virtual machine and click power on. This will power on my virtual machine, and then I can actually begin the installation process. I'm going to put this on the full screen. I'm going to start the installation using the graphical install. This makes it a lot easy to actually go through the walkthrough without having to worry about any of the issue that you might actually come through. So I'm going to select the language as English. I'm going to select the location. I'm going to select the keyboard style. Then I'm going to go through all the installation steps. This is a very straightforward process to actually install Debian 11 on your virtual machine. Now we're going to give it a host name. I'm going to call it HA as my host name. Um, gonna actually join this to a domain. You could just choose any domain name you're on. You could just also leave it. So you just set anything. So I'm just going to join it to a domain or just leave it the way it is. So if I click continue, that would just leave it on the default one. You can join it to a domain. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to set the root password. This is very, very important. And I'm going to click next or continue. I'm going to call this home as my username. That's going to be my user account name. I'm going to set the password for that. This should be different from your root password for security's sake. I'm going to click next. I must have typed in my password wrongly. Let me try again. Let's try that again. Awesome. Now I'm going to wait for Debian to actually configure the clock. I'm going to choose my time zone. It's just basically just going to watch and just follow the step. It's a very straightforward process to actually install Debian. So I'm going to choose the guided by using the entire disk. I'm not going to go into partitioning. It's beyond the scope of this video. I'm going to just select the basic disk that I've created, which is the 32 gig. I'm going to use one partition. Done with my partition. You can see this is what it partitioned it into. So I'm going to click continue. Yes, I'm going to write the changes to this disk. Now here is actually basically asking if you want to add additional package. For now, I'm just going to say no. I don't really need to add any additional package. The same thing here as well. It's also going to say no to that. You could actually make changes to that also when you are done with the entire installation. When you have by going to software and updates, and then you can actually choose the features that you want to enable. For now, I'm good with that. I'm not going to enable survey as well. I'm just going to leave that as no. And then you could choose whatever desktop environment that you want. I'm going to leave it as a default. Click next. Right now, Debian is basically installing all the software that it's needed to run the OS. So we're just going to wait until this step is done. So right now it's installing the bootloader. So we're just going to install, since we only have one operating system on the partition, I'm just going to install it on the primary drive. I don't really need to worry myself about that. I'm going to select this drive as where I want my bootloader to be installed. If you have multiple partition, you might need to uh, check where exactly your Debian 11 is being installed. I'm going to click on continue. It's going to install the bootloader on that particular partition, and then it's going to finish the installation, and it's going to restart when everything is ready. So now the installation is complete. So I'm going to click on continue, and then it's going to reboot. Most important step in installing Home Assistant on Debian, which is setting the IP address of your network card to a static IP address. So you come here to network adapter, wired setting, and then click on wire setting. That would then open this page. Change the IP version 4 from automatic to manual. I'm just going to assign a static IP address. I'm going to set gateway. Now this information, it's going to be different from your setting. This is what you need to do if you are obtaining an automatic IP address from your router. This is what you need to do first. First, you go to show all application under activities, and then find your terminal, and then type IP address. That will tell you your IP address. So this is my IP address here. I'm using 111/24. I do know my default gateway, so you can as well check the default gateway. So to check your default gateway, you just type in IP routes show. That will tell you what your default gateway is. So that's actually why you see me typing that here. So this, you wonder why I used 19 and why didn't I use the 111 that it gave me. So I have some reserve IP address I could actually use on my network. So 19 is what I want to use. So that you could use the 111 that it automatically assigned to your PC or whatever IP address that it was assigned to as your manual IP, just to ensure that the PC has a manual IP. That's all that matters. So next thing I'm going to do is to set my DNS. You could just leave this on automatic. You could as well set it manually. So I'm just going to use a Google DNS by separating them with a comma, whatever you want to use, and then click on apply. Once you're done with that, the next thing we're going to then do is to then begin with Home Assistant installation. I'm just going to go to the browser and go to homeassistant.io. That is the page for Home Assistant. Now we're going to go to getting started. I'm going to go to installation. We're going to install Home Assistant Supervised, but we're going to install it on Linux. Remember, Debian is actually a distro of Linux, and as you can see here, it's got Home Assistant Supervised option. If you look at different operating systems, they do have the Home Assistant version that they can actually run. So if we go down to the method that you have the container, the core, the supervised. This is basically all the features the supervised have. So supervised is very rich. So I do like to use Home Assistant Supervised, and since we're using Linux, I'm going to click on Linux. Now you have the option to download the image, but we've already gone past this, so I'm not going to use this option. I'm just basically going to scroll down to where I have the Home Assistant Supervised, and I'm going to follow this step. Now I'm going to scroll down. This is Home Assistant Core, but we're looking for the Home Assistant Supervised. Good. This is the Home Assistant Supervisor, and here you have a warning which you can read. You have the requirements. You also have the instruction that tells you this method has a strict requirement. It only supports Debian, Ubuntu, and Raspberry Pi is not supported with this particular version. So make sure that you meet with the step one requirement. So we can actually look at the requirement by clicking on this. I'm going to open a new tab. Now step three also tells us that we can head over to the Home Assistant installer. So I'm going to open this also in a new tab. Now let's go through the requirements for Home Assistant Supervised. Now the requirements require the Docker, it requires this, it requires this, and this, and this, and this. I'm going to show you how to install all this. So sometimes looking through this can make it very, very scary. So we're going to install all this because these are very, very important. So actually have your Home Assistant running. Now remember, when we click on this Home Assistant installer, it took us to this page here. So this is going to be the step we're going to follow to install the Home Assistant. So here you will see what is needed to run the installation. You can see this as some of the application that is or the required apps that needs to run. Notice some of this name happens to be in the list here. So every packages that needs to run will be installed. This is as well the Docker, which we're going to install. We're also going to install the OS agents, and then we're going to finish our Home Assistant installation. So I'm going to begin by opening the terminal. This is my terminal. I'm going to open a new terminal, so you could just click on pause. I'm going to close the previous one. Now, what I'm going to do first is I am going to get into my super user mode. I prefer to use the SU dash to get into my super user mode. Now, this mode is the most important mode you can be in. And once you have as in switch over to a super user mode, you can basically begin to run all this command without having to use sudo. So I'm just going to start by, you could just copy everything you have here and then um, put them on the terminal. You could as well just type them one by one. You just copy them line by line. So I'm just going to copy everything and just paste them. So this is everything I have. I'm going to hit the next key. Okay, to begin, I'm going to switch into a super user mode. Type in my password. The first thing I need to do before I run this package is I need to update my um, my installation or my Debian. So I'm going to start it with apt-get updates and apt-get upgrade. This is the command that is needed to update and upgrade your Debian package. Now, if you notice, I am getting some errors here, and like I said, this option would have been selected while I was installing, but since I did not select this, I'm actually going to show you how to select all these options so that you do not have this error. So what you're going to do next, as what you're going to do now, is to go to Software and Updates, which is this one. I'm going to choose install official support installation here, which will download some package from the internet. I'm going to come here as well. I'm going to ensure that this is on check. I do not need to install anything from the drive. I'm going to go through this. I need also to get some of the updates from um, Debian. Um, I also like to do a daily update, so I'm just going to do this and install them automatically. You could just leave that. You don't really need to worry about that. I think that's basically all I need to do. I'm going to just click on close. Now, this is going to reload everything, and once this is done, I'm going to run this command again. Now that it's done, so I'm going to just run the command again, repeat it by pressing the up arrow key, press the enter, and notice this time around I have a hit for the first one, I have a hit for the second one, and everything is running very well. So this is going to tell you, okay, you have 4 packages to be have to be upgraded, which is this, and then I'm going to say yes to that. I want to upgrade that, and that's going to download everything that you need from the internet. So once that is done, I'm going to go ahead with this installation step. Okay, everything looks good. So, yep, we're good. So the next thing I'm going to do is to copy this and install everything by just pasting and I hit the enter key. Now notice all the packages are being downloaded, and once they're downloaded, they'll be installed automatically. What I'm going to do is to check and fix any broken installation. Apt space double dash fix dash broken, then install. This will check if there is any installation that is broken that needs to be fixed. As you can see, there is nothing that I have any issue with. So the next thing I'm going to do before I go to step 2 is I'm going to reboot my computer. Open my browser, my terminal. Switch to super user mode using the SU. Notice the difference when you're on your home direct, as in when you're not in super user mode, you are actually in your user directory, which is home. Now I'm in roots, so I've switched over to a super user mode. So I have two user account there, home, and I also have root. So root is a super user account. Now I've done the step one. Next step I want to do is to do the step two. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to switch back to my terminal and paste that command. Run this. Good. Now you could see that Docker is installed. This will tell you when it's installed. You can see automatically it ran the Docker version, and then it tells us what version of Docker we're running, which is this version here. So everything looks good. So we're good to go. All the information which we already previously saw. So everything looks good. So we're gonna go to the next step. The next step is the step three. But before we get to the step three, there's something I need to do. First, I need to change my Docker to my user account. So I'm going to use this command, usermod ag Docker, and then my username. My username is home. Remember, I do have two user accounts, root, which is my super user, and home, which is the other user I created. So once you do this, that allows your Docker to actually run on that. So next I'm going to go to step three here, which is this one here. Step three actually requires that we go through the instruction here. I'm going to click on this instruction. For step very straightforward, pastes. Now this is how to download the recent OS agent package. You could as well come here and get the recent one. So click on this link, and then I'm going to click on this one here, which is my Debian. This is for Debian. This is also different distro. I'm using the x86-64. I'm going to click on this download, or just copy the link, copy link, and then go to my terminal by using wget, and I'm going to paste the link that I just copied. Now I'm going to hit the enter key. That would download the OS agent, which is this. Notice this. This is the same name you saw just now. Yep. So this is the next thing we're going to do once we've downloaded the OS agent. So I'm going to copy this link now. But please note, this file here might be different from your file name. So I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to copy this link. Copy. And then I'm going to go to the terminal again. I'm going to paste this. I'm going to make some modification. Notice this. This says OS agent 1.0.0, but notice the OS agent here is different. I'm going to copy just this from the OS agent down to .deb. Copy. You can just right click and copy, and then I'm going to remove this part here and paste that. So that is how to actually use or follow this instruction that was given here. So make sure you first download the OS agent. If you go straight by just running this step, you're going to get an error. So I'm going to download, I've already downloaded the agent, and I'm going to install it. I'm going to unpack it using the sudo dpkg. That's actually how to install a package in Debian. I'm going to run this command. Now that is installed. The next thing I'm going to do is to go to step 4. The step 4 is to install the Home Assistant Supervised version. So we've done the step 1 by installing all the dependency files. We've done the step 2 by installing the Docker. We've done step 3 by installing the OS agent. Remember, the OS agent took us to a different page where we downloaded the OS agent latest file, and then we then install the package that we downloaded. Step 4, which is this one here, requires you also downloading the Home Assistant Supervised version, and also as well installing the Home Assistant Supervised. So I'm going to do this in two steps. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste this command there. I'm going to remove this, or I'm going to separate the two of them because they're two different commands. I'm going to run the first one with this link, go back to my terminal. I'm going to paste that. I'm going to run this command. Once this is done, notice this has been downloaded. I do not need to make any changes to this name because it's basically the same name here. So I'm going to copy this command and I'm going to install this. Copy, paste. So that will run the command. What some people would do is basically just copy the two and run it together, but I do like to just run it separately just in case there's an error. I can easily see that. Now, this is the most important step. Once your Home Assistant is installed, it's going to tell you your machine IP. Remember earlier that we actually changed the IP using a manual IP. I told you it's very important that you have a manual IP installed, as in configured. Now, it also uses a port number, which is port 8123. What I would advise you to do is to copy this information here from this info here, copy everything, put it on your text editor. You could save this so that when this reboots, you're actually going to remember. I'm going to put this on the desktop. You're going to remember the Home Assistant. What's it called? The Home Assistant URL. That's what I'm trying to remember. Click save. Then the next thing I'm going to do before I do anything is you can see here it says a reboot is required to apply the changes. So I'm going to just type in reboots my PC. Now once this is ready, we're going to log in. Okay, we're ready. So I'm going to go back to my editor. Remember I saved the file on my desktop earlier. I'm going to go back to my editor. Open the file from the location it was saved. Open my browser. I want to start a new session. Paste the URL link of your that you got from your Home Assistant installation, which is this one here. Paste here on the browser, and then that will open Home Assistant installation. So as you can see here, this is going to take a few minutes to actually install. This can take up to 20 minutes. It depends on how fast your system is. I've seen this take less than 5 minutes. I've seen this take a minute. Depends on whatever kind of resources you are sent to. So I'm just going to leave it and then allow it to run. And then when it's ready, we're going to come back and get done with this 3-minute steps. Once it's ready, it's going to tell you to enter your username, your full name. So I'm just going to write Home Assistant. I'm going to change the username here. I'm just going to leave it on home. That's fine with me. I'm going to set my password. I'm going to confirm the password. I'm going to create the account. It's going to try and detect your location. That's fine. Click on next. Check basic analytics, check usage, check statistical data, and check diagnostic. This helps Home Assistant to provide good support to you when you need help. Click next. Now, When you don't, you might actually notice that your Home Assistant might automatically find certain things on your network. It may not find anything. So if this is all you found in it, that's just fine. That's just basic. Then you click on finish. Then that is how Home Assistant is installed. So basically, everything you need about to know about Home Assistant Supervised, that is the basic step.